Welcome everybody to Sonderling Inc. episode 33. My name is Sam Leonard, I'm your GM. I have some players.
I'm Intuited. I'm playing a human rogue called Horgold Wolves.
I'm Holocall, playing a human fighter called Holocall.
I am Eastbourne, playing a goblin wizard called Striggs.
I'm Xurder, playing the kobold ranger called Grunthos.
Alright, who wants to go over what happened last time?
Well, last time, as I can remember, we traveled from Kirsch to Kartuk. And, we figured out a way to try and enter Kartuk in a less conspicuous way than with our flying ship. We met someone who owned a barge and tried to get them to take us, and that was succeeded. And also got some guards to guard our ship, if I'm correct. And I think that's where we ended. While traveling to Kartuk up the river at night, sleeping.
You forgot your little excursion into the Fey realm.
Oh right, that entire thing happened as well. I almost blocked it out of my mind.
just a small goblin into a small fey realm. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Alright, go ahead and take inspiration if you don't have it, Eastbourne. And so, you guys have arrived at the dock in Kartuk on your Uber barge. It's say 8 p.m. ish. The guy, like, the barge owner's like talking to the drover team, working on like stabling the horses. The boat workers are currently like organizing the stuff to unload. They've kind of put your stocks off to the side. Guy walks up to Horgold and offers a hand, says, thanks for welcome to you and your crew to Kartuk. It's good having you traveling along with us. We'll let you unload your things and whatever you want to do with them. I guess for this point, we'll be in town for a few days. So if you have like a load you'd like to take back to your boat, just let us know.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much.
So you guys get your stuff unloaded onto the shore. Yeah. What do you got? What are you gonna do?
We had some things to deliver, I think. That might be the first deal that we wanted. And we want to search for someone.
I forgot the name where I need to deliver it to.
I gave it a name?
Maybe not.
I probably did. I don't remember it either.
I'm not sure if the Orc Teak was the one that we got the goods from, or where we need to deliver it to.
The Orc Teak was the one who said that he had a load of wood that you guys could buy from him and then sell for a higher price in Kartuk. Which did not have you're gonna have to sell that. You're gonna have to find somebody to buy it. The other delivery,
The wands.
yes, the wands, would have a set sale point, which I probably gave and have completely forgotten.
I thought it was just a transport fee, to be honest.
Well, you're gonna have to deliver it to somebody.
Yes, correct.
So let's think.
I have not written that down. I do have written down that we have to find Lei Falis, or at least something that might look like her.
Indeed. That's for something else entirely, though.
Yes.
Okay, we'll hand wave a little bit since I really can't remember the name of the place I told you to deliver to. So you guys know where that is. You've got ship's cargo full of teak to figure out how to offload first, which is going to be more than a floating disc can carry around behind you.
Yes.
So I guess
I will
we
use them.
ask. Yeah, I will guess we just head into town, make sure our cargo is safe somewhere by some guards or something. Take the
Grantos.
cloth with us.
Grantos plunks his rear end on the wood and says, "Ow."
Yeah, but we need to find somebody to sell the wood to, and we might be able to do that on our way where we need to sell the cloth.
Yeah, go. I'll look at.
All right.
Anybody coming with me?
I come for transport.
All right. For those of you heading into town, Kartuk is, I guess it's a little bigger than about half the size of Kirsch, but for so, uh, Eastbourne, I've forgotten your character's name because you'd not changed it. Striggs. You've been to Kartuk before. You grew up in Convergence, but being a wizardly type, you've been to Kartuk probably 2 or 3 times at least, for studies or for whatever have you. So you're relatively familiar with this town. Hollock and Horgold have been here before as well, on a train ride. I think Grunthos was there as well.
Yeah, Grantos got lost.
Yeah, a little bit. So Hollock, or not Hollock, yeah, Hollock and Horgold, town as much as you remember, like the smell of iron smeltery, or not iron smelteries, but forges and smelters and industry, wafts in the air, pollution stinging the eyes a little bit, but nothing like horrible. Being evening at the docks, you guys are surrounded with bars and warehouses, and we'll say you Horgold, your contact for getting rid of for selling off the wands is a human who works in one of the bars here in this part of town, like near the docks. Gonna be male, and I'll let you name them if you don't mind.
Yeah, I accept. Go.
Henry.
Yeah. Roland.
Roland.
Borderlands. Nice.
All right, so you arrive at the bar. He's a like person. Barmaid is not exactly the right term, but basically barmaid. Just he's a guy version. Basically, taking people's orders for drinks, bringing their drinks back. You bartender, waiter. That's the gender neutral version of it. He comes over to your table. So you're there. Hollock is there. Striggs is there, right?
Yeah.
He says, it's an eclectic group. What can I get you gentlemen this evening? He's like the only server in this place.
Well, we like a round of drinks, and we have some wares from Rondu, from Cat.
He He blinks and then notices your stash and says, "Absolutely, gentlemen. I'll bring a round of beers." And he heads off to the bar. When he brings the tray of beers back to the table, Striggs, underneath your mug, you find a folded piece of paper.
Okay, I'll make sure that no one can see it, and I'll open it. I don't care about the party members, but not anyone else, or if there are any.
On the piece of paper, you see an address for a place here in town. It's like 10 blocks from here, about. You don't know this area. You wouldn't know this area well enough to know exactly what it is.
I probably know the region, right? So just
you can get there from here. The Kartuk has fairly well out. Like, somebody took time in the past century or so to take the mangled, horrible streets that come from a agrarian town, and basically started segmenting it off into more like straight roads, blocks, and adding addresses to them. So
Okay, well, we'll work on. I'll whisper to the group that I'll know where we have to take them. But let's first finish our beers. While keeping an eye on the wares, of course.
you find the beers watery and very thin, and you also find that the Roland never quite comes back to your place. It's one of those things where he knows you were here because you were delivering something, and so he's gonna give you an excuse to
Get out.
Not be here anymore.
So after I finish my drink, I guess I'll head out.
Yep.
The good news is he didn't charge you for anything.
Let me just leave a gold piece, brass piece on the table.
All right, you guys head out of the bar. Like the sign on the outside is kind of a nondescript eagle type or falcon type bird. And you head about 4 blocks over and about 6 blocks up, come to what, if it had an address like number on it or something, this should be the correct address. And it is the back end of another bar. So the main entrance would be in the front end. You guys are kind of in the alley behind the place. There's a curtain in the door for the bar.
I'll nudge Orgold to maybe knock on there, because you know the people, right? Or at least the people in that circle.
I knock on the door.
Okay. Guy, portly man. You think there's probably some orc blood somewhere in his past, but you're not exactly sure. But if he doesn't have any orc in him, he's got the most impressive set of teeth you have ever seen on a human. And says deliveries aren't until midnight. Turns around to go back in. Like looked at you, and then just completely blew you off.
Did he see our package? Did I have it in front of me
I
on the
don't
disc?
know if he saw the package. Did you have it? Is it something pretty obvious?
I mean, I'm using Tensor's floating disc to drag it with us, right?
You're thinking he made the assumption, since you're using magic carry, that it was something heavy, possibly food or beer or...
Yeah.
I knock again, and before he can answer, I will send Roland.
Oh, Roland sent you. Sure, come on in. Should have told you that the first time. He's like, all right, go. he points at a side passage and says, through that curtain there, clap once as you pass through the curtain, and there you go.
I follow the instructions and clap once.
All right. Everybody else, as you go through the door, your single clap, like you can sense some sort of pressure release from you. As you pass through the door, you find there is a little nook, open on the side. There's like a hallway that travels down, and looking at it, the hallway passes into the next building. Like looking at the way this, like the outside of this building was laid out, and the way this building's laid out, like this hall is long enough that it has to go into the next building over. The buildings are like, you know, side by side, and now there's a little nook kind of low down, along the way, opened up, and it looks like it's like the perfect size for your bundles.
I guess let's throw it in or lay it in there.
All right. Looking inside, you see a moderately sized bag in it, fairly heavy.
That must be our payment, maybe.
Opening it up, it's almost all bronze pieces, but it works out to like a rough count just by size and weight. It's like, oh yeah, that's about the right amount. And
Half an hour later while counting.
it's gonna take a while to count. It's bronze.
I think I can make a quick rough estimate.
Yeah, that's what he meant, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
sir.
can give me an insight if you're worried, but
Nah.
okay. I was gonna say it works out. I think it was payment of about 300 brass.
150.
150. All right, I did.
We had 150 on when we went away, and 150.
Right. Yep. No, that is good enough. So you have what, 150. So 1,500. So 1,500 bronze pieces ish. At 50,
That's a lot of weight.
50 per pound. Just I'm gonna do a quick. About 30 pounds worth of bronze you guys have on you.
Yeah.
So it's a significant amount. It's not like a huge volume because
No.
it's metal, but
Heavy.
yeah, it's still heavy. You do have a floating disc though.
Yes.
And you push the rolled up carpets of wands into this and close the door, and like there's no obvious this door is well put to like seal completely. Like the wood grain is such that it hides really well. Eastbourne, you're not even sure if it's magical.
Oh, interesting.
Or at the very least, it's not like this isn't an illusion.
I got
It may have been magically made so that there wasn't a kerf in the socket, but other than that,
I don't really care. It's just the position that we where we need to deliver, and we're done now. So let's head back to the ship, I guess, to get rid of the wood and stuff.
Yeah, if we can.
I yell thank you through the hole if there's still like a crack or like right in front of it, and start heading out.
all right. You guys head back toward the ship. Grunthos, you have a very boring about a half an hour watching the, or I don't know if it's boring for you or not, but like watching barges come in and unload. The docks actually do a fairly brisk business. You find yourself like it takes maybe a half an hour to completely unload and reload a barge. They like there's an efficiency here that this is like you haven't seen before in other docks. Kirsch was a very busy dock, but you know, a ship would pull in and the next day you guys would see somebody come up and it would take 2 or 3 hours to unload. Orkland, something similar. Usually the same day they'd start loading or unloading, but it could take 2 or 3 days to load. These barges hold nearly as much or as much cargo as any of the ships you've seen, and like literally within a half an hour there are, cranes working, men yelling, and they just completely unload and reload a barge, and the barge heads out. Most of them going up or down river. Some of them pull into other like waiting areas that kind of to let people offload and spend time, but like the loading docks are definitely way more efficient and active than you're used to. Every once in a while, the like dock master comes by, notices that you're still sitting there, and kind of gives you a look, and then walks on past.
Give him a look back when he passes. Other than that, I'm just admiring the cranes and mechanics of the dock.
Give me an insight roll, please. $15. You're pretty sure that these barges are like built specific for this this task, and the cranes are both mechanical and magical at some point. Like, you see a crane swing out in like a platform, swing down over a bunch of boxes and swing up. The boxes are kind of attached to it, swing over and set it down. Like, there's no hands or anything that grip a hold of it that you can see, but there's something definitely grabbing on these crates and moving them out of the way.
Sticky resin.
All right, you guys arrive back. The wood is unperturbed. You've seen, like, there are different barges pulled up to this place than what you saw before. You can see the barge you guys came in on like a dock about 50 yards away.
Any barges doing construction stuff or wood stuff?
Give me an insight. Not that you're seeing.
Your rolls. Fuck.
All right. So yeah, you don't see any like wood or other workers.
Are there any merchants roaming around the dock area?
There
Look like people.
There absolutely are people kind of roaming the dock area. Go ahead and give me an insight roll.
Insight. 0, so better. 10.
10 is good enough. You think you don't know what he's buying, but you see somebody like watch a ship come in, see what the ship's unloading. He has like a list in his hand. And then every once in a while you see him walk up to the like loadmaster. They'll exchange a few words and then shake hands or not, and then he'll move on.
It works again. I'll head up to him and say that we have this amount of wood area thing that we are willing to trade.
He kind of looks down at you. Yeah, I saw you guys unload. Don't have any real need for wood.
Maybe do you know any of your colleagues who might be in need?
He points up the dock. Half elf up there might. She might be looking for something like what you got.
Thank you very much, and I'll flip him a brass coin.
He catches it, like reflexively pockets it and then goes back to what he's doing.
I'll head towards the half elf.
All right, so you see a young-ish half elf, maybe 18, 20, female. She's got like her hair tied back, and she much similar has a note, like a page, and a pen, and she's like doing that thing where somebody's like thinking really hard and they're like twiddling their pen, and she's watching the docs.
I'll try and jump up a little to get her attention. Hello, I'm Striggs.
What goblin? What? Hi.
Hey, hello. We've just arrived in town and we have had a little bit of wood on us that we might want to trade off, and I heard you might be in need of some.
Sure, wood. Let's see what you got.
Sure, come along, and I'll bring her back to our pile.
She tucks the like pin in behind her ear. She walks over to you guys, kind of takes in the group. It says, you don't look like, you know what? What do you got for wood? I don't even care.
We'll show her the pile that's that Grunthos is sitting on.
She kind of mumbles to herself. You got a goblin, you got a kobold.
Oh, those are not included.
Oh, well,
Oh, well.
slavery was outlawed a long time ago, so I'm glad. All right, so you got, she lists a number like 1,500 board feet of teak or something.
About right.
Something like that. Quality seems good. I'm not super interested in teak right now. It's too expensive. And she turns around, head up.
We could probably do it on a little bit of a discount, right, guys? Not too much though, but
You know anybody else that might have money for?
I'm sure there's somebody who has money for teak, but are they standing right here? Look, I tell you what. I can buy this off of you guys. Here, you don't have to worry about carrying it anywhere else. And I can haul it for you. I can store it for you, because one thing you got to learn about teak, you know, is sits out in the humidity too long, starts warping, and then, well, the value just goes to hell. 200 sounds right. I think you guys learned, from what I remember. Not 100% sure because it's been a while back. You guys paid 200. He said that you could sell it for like 5 in Kartuk. I think, and he seemed like that seemed like he
it was
believed
more
that
than double anyway.
he believed that was a fair price for that he believed that you could get that much.
Yep.
If that makes sense. Like, he wasn't lying to you. He wasn't scamming you or anything. All right. So she says, I tell you what, 350 fair price, sell us for 300 and sell for 500. Or we'll hail the price lower. Okay. She says 350, and I'll take care of it for you. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for just a little bit of storing and reselling it, I think that's a little bit big of a price difference. What do you think about 420?
Go ahead and give me a charisma check.
General charisma, or
Do you have any like skills that apply?
well, no, not me, but maybe on a
Persuasion.
few.
Persuasion would be one. I don't think you want to intimidate her, because I think she'd just leave.
No. A performance. No.
I mean,
Sure.
sales is a kind of performance, but
yeah, it's a bit far fetched.
unless you have like
13.
perform like oratory, I don't think I'd give it to you.
No, just 13 charisma.
13. She eyebrows and she seems a little bit like put off by the fact that she's talking down to you, but she says, I tell you what, 400, and that's my final price. I can get the wood I need otherwise. And if I pay more than 400, then well, I'm not gonna make any money on selling it on, or rather turning it into thing.
And take a glance at at Horgold. I think it's fair, but
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Sure.
yeah, sure.
She reaches down to take your hand.
I'll stretch out my hand and stand on my tippy toes
All right.
to reach.
She takes her notepad. Yeah, after shaking your hand, she takes her notepad, scrawls a note on it. Basically says purchase on purchase on the dock. It's 1,500 linear feet teak. And that gives a grade, which is like not perfect grade, but like really good. Like this is a grade.
Mhm.
She signs her name to it. I need a good half elf. Hold on. I need a good half elf
Emilia?
name. What's that?
Emilia?
I love that name. Emelia.
Yep.
So she signs her name to it. And then she puts it down and hands you the pin for you to sign underneath hers.
I will sign underneath her.
And she
Full name, of course.
full name.
Should have answered.
She takes the note. She like rips it in half, and it is 2 full notes. She hands one of them to you. She tucks one of them into a pouch on her side, and then she reaches into a different pouch, fiddles around for a little bit, and hands you 4 iron pieces.
That's correct, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I'll take the 4 iron pieces. Great iron. Haven't had that yet. And I'll when we get back, I'll distribute it against the 4 of us.
She then fiddles. She like turns around, starts walking away, fiddles with the ring on her finger. Those of pretty much everybody at this point would be familiar. This is some sort of message ring.
What she's fiddling around with the ring, but I'm walking away. So sure. Does anyone want to try and listen?
Perception if you want to try to overhear a conversation.
Nah.
All right. You guys are on the docks. It is probably 9-ish at night at this point.
9-ish p.m.
9-ish p.m. Yep.
Let's go find a nice place where we get some dinner and maybe a good night.
Yeah, we don't have our boat, so
All right. Striggs,
yes.
you've been here the most. You're the most likely to remember a good place for food and sleep. Give me
It
an
would probably
intelligence.
be like, oh, sorry. It
Yeah,
would probably be in like a commoner area because I wasn't rich or anything.
Yeah, give me an intelligence roll.
Can it be my 11 plus 4 for intelligence, which is 15?
Sure, it can be your
divination?
11 plus 4 for intelligence. That ability is very.
Yes. It's very overpowered.
I think only overpowered because of the way I run the game.
No. It's a lot of people say it's overpowered.
Well, fair enough. If we had like a side thought, but if we were running like a dungeon crawl where you had 4 or 5 fights between long rests, then choosing a couple of rolls wouldn't make a huge difference. I mean, it would make a difference, but it wouldn't be like you may roll twice or 3 times an in-game day here.
But if you're good at choosing which rolls you want to do, it might be actually very powerful.
Oh yeah, that's playing the board game of Dungeons and Dragons. Well, anyway, so at 15, there is a bar and inn called the Takui Den, TAQUI space DEN, which is a the people who run it are immigrants from the southern continent, from the town of Takuiden. It has decent food, and relatively inexpensive place to stay. Yes, exactly right, Grunthos.
Nice.
Made
Oh yeah, well, I'll just everyone there. If everyone wants to follow me, I'll say I have a nice place.
Grunthos follows, sniffing the air for notes of food because he's...
So as you're walking along, you start Grunthos, you smell roast meat, but it's not familiar to you. Like the spices are a little different. The roasting style is a little different. When you guys arrive, you see an interesting setup. So there are it's a kebab shop to put it into perspective. You see 3 long skewers of meat, thinly sliced, or not, no, quarter-inch thick sliced meat, just piled and piled and piled and piled on this skewer, up against one wall, and you can feel the heat coming off of this mat, this wall behind the skewers. But you're there's no fire there. It's just kind of an intense heat coming out from it, and you can see as the skewers roll around, you can see as they're coming back toward the front, it's just starting to bubble. And so as this rotates around 2 or 3 times, you get this lovely bright brown, lovely crust. Smell of cinnamon and clove and nutmeg and coriander and pepper and black pepper. And you see that they're doing fairly brisk. Some people are coming in and there's a bar. They're coming in there. They sit at the bar. They have beer and they might have food. A lot of people will just come in and get what you would best describe as a hand sandwich. I guess it's kind of there's this flatbread. They slice off some of the meat, put on some olives and some crumbly cheese, hand it to the person. Person pays probably 2 or 3 copper and walks back out the door with a ready-made meal. And yeah, just the whole place is just suffused with this lovely spicy aroma and the smell of roast meat.
That's not a place of destination, right? It's on the way.
No, this is the Takuiden.
Ah, okay, very nice. So this is outside or also inside?
So there's kind of a walk-up area, like a window where a lot of people who are getting quick meals walk up, but there's also a bar inside. And there's also, there's also rooms upstairs.
I'll just go inside and search for anyone who can at least get us the rooms first.
Right, one of the servers comes up to you and says, "How can I help you, gentlemen? this evening, and
Hey, we're looking for sleeping places.
individual rooms for you, or we've got bunk space as well.
I think individuals is pretty nice, right, guys? And I'll look back to the guys who are looking at the meat stands, I guess.
Mouth-watering is the best way to describe
Yeah.
it.
Grunthos is ogling the meat.
So
I'll just say yes. That's a yes.
she's like, or he's like, yeah, she's like, all right, brass and night for the rooms. You want something else, or?
Yeah, we can do the meals. I don't know if you include that usually, or if there's like a special menu. Or...
Breakfast is included. We have lamb, chicken, and pork on the skewers tonight. That and an ale will be five copper.
Can I pay 2 brass and say if we can drink ale for the rest of the night and get some decent food for the 4 of us?
She's like,
2
all right,
brass.
thank you. And she tosses you 4 keys and says, rooms are upstairs. Have a good evening, and we'll your meals will be out shortly.
Thank you. Okay, guys, let's get ready and take a seat. I'll distribute the keys to everyone.
Grunthos is just ogling the meat, mouth watering.
Try and pull Grunthos with us to a table.
After a short amount of time, Grunthos, you get probably lamb, and yeah, like I said, it's piled onto a kind of a flatbread, olives and crumbly cheese over top of it. Pretty sure it's lamb, at least.
It's usually kind of hard to distinguish.
A little bit. I mean, you can kind of tell the chicken from the other two.
Yeah, of course.
But it tastes like better than it should, and it looks like it should taste really, really good.
Is there any special sauce on the table next to it or something I can spray over it?
Yeah, there's absolutely sauces on the table. There's some sort of sauce, like as you bite into it, there's some sort of sauce underneath it.
Like the red one.
Yeah, like a red one, like a pepper sauce, pepper and oil, and something else. You're not sure what else. The white sauce is probably like I guess mayonnaise is like
garlic.
An egg and vinegar emulsion with garlic and
Great.
and it is like peppery but not spicy in the sense of like blow your face off spicy, but definitely got some spice to it, and has a lot of other spices in, and yet it's almost fried from the way that it goes around, but it's not quite fried. It's kind of a half roast, half fried, and it's one of those things where you're like, you take a bite and you can't. It's like, that can't be that good. And you take another bite, it's like, well, it seems to be that good. And then the thing is gone, and you're full, but you're not sure if you want another one or not.
Grunthos
Actual
wants another
IRL.
one. Grunthos orders another one.
All right,
Of a
5
different
copper, and
Kind of.
do you go for a different meat, or are you gonna go for the lamb again?
Pork. Oink oink.
So yeah, you get it, and it's flavored. They added different spices to this one. But it's still like the flavors work really well with the meat, and it has that kind of half fried, half roast flavor to it. Yeah, no, really good. All right, so the evening passes. Grunthos, you are so full of meat that it is very hard to drink your beer. As evening wears on into night, you guys can head into your rooms. Rooms are small, like just enough room for a bed, and
No
at the
problem
end,
for me.
and the end of the bed is like a little table, with a little bowl of water on it, or I guess a little bowl on it that you could hold water in. And the whole place smells strangely, not so strangely, like spices and meats.
Well, yeah, that will basically just pull through the entire building.
Permeates, I think, is the proper term.
Yes. My
But,
English
like-
lexicon is not that great.
As you guys are sitting there for the evening, this place does banging like business. Most people are here either to eat a meal. Like, there aren't that many people who stay the night here. Most of them are here to eat a meal, or they're like quick outside. And at five copper a piece, you guys are pretty sure this place does like hundreds of brass a night in sales. Every once in a while, you'll see like the last dregs of meat get taken off one of these skewers, and then another skewer will come out, magically appear.
Wait, what? Just
Well,
poof
not
in?
magically,
Okay.
seemingly magically
From the
appear
back.
from the back room.
Great.
All right.
Can I take some time before I go to sleep to draw out this plan of the map of the city a little bit for what I know and what I've seen?
Of Kartuk or of
Basically what I know of Kartuk and no Kartuk.
Oh.
Kartuk.
So absolutely you can, like, give a rough, this part of town is like industry, over here is like residential areas, and you spent the most time up at the university, which is probably about a 10-minute walk from this place. And you have the best knowledge of the university and grounds. So you, like, your map is the most detailed in that part of the area, but here's where the castle is, up further away, and then like kind of in the middle of town is the university, and then your guys are not quite to the middle of town yet, but maybe a 10-minute walk.
Docks.
And then, like, near to the river, there's a lot of like forges and smelteries and woodworkers and just like industry type things.
Got it, thanks. Well, next day, I guess.
Do you guys have any plans for the night, or just go on to the next day?
Wash up and go to bed.
All right, so it is the 13th of Ruby when you guys wake up. You smell the smell of frying stuff as you're like waking up in the morning. Holy buckets, Batman.
Yes!
Heading downstairs, you find there's a couple of people working in the main window. The door to the restaurant area is closed, but the window is open, and you see like a couple of people behind the like bar. You can kind of see into the kitchen area. There are people with frying, like, cast iron pans. You see them taking off now cold slices from the kebabs, slicing it off, putting it in a pan, like scrambling up some eggs, putting that into one of these flatbread pieces, wrapping it up, and then there's just a kind of a pile of them by the window, and people put a couple of copper on the counter, grab one as they're walking past, and there's just kind of a person there watching people, nodding, saying hello, good morning, taking money, and restocking the supply of these rolls as people walk past.
Great. I guess we'll go sit down for breakfast, or if they are not coming, then take up some from the counter.
That you absolutely can get some from the counter. There's only like 3 people here, so they don't have enough for like table service.
Yeah. Got it.
But this is pretty apparent that this is last night's, like, not in a bad way,
Yeah.
but last night's meat and egg scramble.
Yeah, it's the best thing to do actually with kebab, in my opinion. That's great.
So what are the plans for today?
Well, I think we have to go search for someone. Lefalis, the half-elf half-elf one, which is dark place behind bars. Blah blah blah. Not common for half-elves. Oh, it's just dark clothing, I guess. That's what I wrote. Fuck. Sorry.
Wasn't that in Auckland?
No,
No.
Kartuk.
In Katuk, okay.
That's
There was a
partly why you guys came here, or mostly why you guys came here.
very long ago was a spy mistress of a Kartuk. Was a half-elf of that name. Her husband was a human, the commander of the army general of the army of Kartuk. About 150 years ago, 150 years ago, the husband died of old age. The half-elf woman still looked young at the time, faded out of history, and there's now a new spy master. People have mentioned she was still walking around. Her or her daughter or someone similar that was healthy. And that's all I know.
Healthy and young, which is strange. Either somebody's taking on her name or she's lived a lot longer than half-elves should live, because half-elves have a human or near human lifespan, maybe 120, 130 at the very top end. Like, that'd be a really old half-elf. She's been, if it is the same person, she's been around, get my calendar out.
150, 200 years.
So
Is what I know.
Nope, not that one. So, she was the spy master in Kartuk, in between 3320 and 33, or sorry, 6320 and 6330. Which means she would have to be a full adult at that point. She's rumored to have been seen in Kartuk as early as 6303. Current year is
6513.
6513. So
yeah, it's about 200 years ago. A little bit less.
Yep. So it puts her at least 200 years old, probably closer to 250. And half elves are old at, like,
60s, I guess.
Older.
Yeah, like, very similar to what a human. So a healthy human at 60, you can tell they're 60, but they still look healthy.
Yeah.
80, somebody is looking, gray hair, slower gait, kind of bent over a little bit. At 100, people all kind of look, male, female, big, small, intermediate. They all kind of look the same. By 110, humans have checked out. Elves, like half elves, are still a roundish, maybe, but they're that, maybe 110 for a half elf is 100 for a human sort of look.
Well, I think we need to scour the city then to get some information.
Split the party?
Always split the party. Never split the party.
I didn't say.
I know.
While we're at it, we could try to gather some, if someone knows about the missing days.
We maybe could ask around in the military district or somewhere if I know how to get.
That's the Mages District or something? Schooler?
I was most familiar with the university and the mages part, but I'm assuming Kartuk has an army and some kind of military district area, a castle, or somewhere where the commander sits.
That would be the castle. The current king of Kartuk, who I don't have defined right now because it hasn't been important. Current king of Kartuk, their residence is there. There is, like, they have a castle keep, which is where the royal family is in residence. They also have a larger keep, which has like the commander of the army, probably 250 or 300 soldiers. Like, their whole army doesn't stay there, but that's where the town guard is located. The major like military minds are, military commanders, I should say. That sort of thing. They don't have, since they've finished conquering most of this, most of the Burgundy coast. They don't have a big standing army, and they've never had a big standing army in Kartuk. But yeah, the military grounds and everything, pardon me, are in the castle. The castle proper.
Well, let's head there, I guess. Might be smart to just stay together.
All right.
What do you want to do in the castle?
Ask around for her.
Okay, yeah, no, that's valid. No, my brain was like something, but then I was like, no, you wouldn't know that. So yeah, no.
There you go.
I would just ask around in Thieves' first a little bit on the. Let's see where the higher thieves are, maybe, or the Thieves Guild.
You are
Spies Guild.
Unfamiliar with the Thieves Guild. There is definitely a spy, like, she was one. There is a spy master who would be in the castle. They might take audiences. Not that you wouldn't know them. You could ask. But if you wanted to ask around, and Thieves can't, absolutely. Could have you do
that cow milk was very good, says to a random person.
Give me a investigate roll to see if you can find somewhere or someone to have a conversation that your party doesn't understand. 20? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so question, do you say, hey guys, come this way, or do you split off from everybody else?
No, it's just with the party.
Okay, so you lead the guys around, like, you're like,
probably, if I see the person, I know, like, okay, he knows Thieves' I'll say to the party, okay, stay back a little bit, so we can have a private conversation.
You like read the signs on like walls, and you find a bar, like, actually there would be like a gambling house somewhere, that has like the front of a bar, and you you're like, oh, so this is the place I go to find people like me, sort of thing. But yeah, you can totally have everybody else kind of stay back. You have a short conversation in Thieves' Cant with the barkeep. It sounds really strangely innocuous to everybody else. Like, there's it's like listening to some, like, two people talking to each other in the Cockney rhyming slang, where you can tell that information is passing back and forth between these people, but it's not really like you understand every word that's being said, but like all the context clues for all the words are wrong, and it just manages to not make any sense. Like the conversation doesn't make any sense, but in a very like generic way. Like it doesn't stick around in your brain.
Can I study the patterns or not?
Yeah, give me whatever you got for linguistics.
What? I'm not sure. Investigation, history, insights.
Let me bring up your character sheet. Usually, there used to be like a linguistic skill
No,
that
there's
you
not.
use to get extra languages.
Sadly, there's
That's
not.
just intellect.
I would assume so, but
So yeah, just the intellect
Nowadays.
then.
just int. Okay. 11. Great.
You can tell that there's information passing back and forth, but you don't get the like actual. You can now recognize it as pretty much a foreign language, but you don't. It's like listening to somebody and going, "Is that French? Yeah, I think that's French."
Oh no, that's not a French word. What is it then?
Right.
Yeah. You see a small goblin just with one ear intently towards you, probably or gold. He's not hiding it.
Right. Horgold, you are you're like, oh yeah. Go ahead and head into the back. You might find some more information, from the guy back there. Gives a description of a short human, like the size of Strig's human, wearing a purple vest and dark pants.
Size of me, human. Is that possible? I'm
But-
I can understand that.
1.14 meter. I'm 3'9".
Yes.
Holy.
I'll whisper with my whisper spell to Gruntos. Please keep the group here, and we might need. If I need some help or rescue, I will whisper you. And I'll go into the back.
All right. Follow me in the sideboard then. All right, you head back behind the bar. In the back, kind of through a curtain, you see the normal like back end of a bar place with the barrels of beer, and then back behind one of those, you see a little, not little, but like kind of you have to work your way around the barrel, and then you are into a side room, and you see like an active like. There's a roulette table and a card, so card games and dice, and kind of along the side wall you see a small human, probably maybe 3.5 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall, wearing a purple vest and dark pants.
I'll walk over to him and tell him that the bartender directed me to him.
I
I was directed to you for some information I might be acquiring. Buying.
well, what sort of information do you want? Have lots of information.
Well, we got some rumors here about some old spy master. Do you know something else about that? And I just give him some gems.
He like you see him.
Gem brushwood.
Yeah, you see him like look you over, and he is giving you a are you a guard look. He takes your gem. Give me a charisma based skill. What do you have?
That's not intimidation. Persuasion, maybe?
Persuasion. Give me your persuasion roll. He doesn't look like he trust 16. He doesn't look like he trusts you at first, but he looks the gem over. He kind of gives you another appraising look and says, I mean, there's been a there's this the current spy master's been there for like 5 years now. So, what are you looking for an old spy master for?
Well, we gather information without asking from time to time.
Ah, so you're maybe in the same job I am, but from somewhere else. All right. I tell you what. Who are you looking for? Are you looking for Rolf, or Rig? Give me a knowledge history. 5. I'm gonna give it to you on a 5. Rolf and Rig are the most recent two spy masters who aren't the current one.
No, I'm looking for a little bit older, and I dropped the name Light.
He you see that like look across his face, like fear mixed with where the hell did you hear that name, mixed with how do I get rid of this person quickly? He isn't able to hide it very well, and he's like, I've never heard of LaFaus. You should go. I don't think I know anything about what you're asking about.
That's okay, sir. Keep the coin, and thank you for your information.
Bye. You can tell as you're leaving that he's like watching you very carefully.
Yeah, he's not at ease.
No, he's absolutely not at ease. He did not hide his discomfort well.
I try to picture him not like. Does he have any special gems on him, like a necklace or something like that, except his purple vest and dark?
He doesn't have, other than his stature and his clothing, he doesn't have anything like distinguishing. But I mean, the stature is pretty distinguishing all by itself.
Yeah, but not an object that is like.
No. He's got a billy club, I guess you'd call it, by his side, but that's the only other what'll be the only other thing.
I just try to remember the vest as much as I can.
You can absolutely do that. That's not a problem.
Okay, and I'm done.
All right.
And I'll head out to the group.
All right. After maybe 4 or 5 minutes, you guys see Horgold come back out. Curious, what expression's on your face, Horgold, after that encounter?
Calm, but walking to the door and winking the group to follow me and whispering we might overstay our welcome.
What? I'll just follow him.
All right, you guys head out. It's still fairly early in the day.
I'll tell them what happened and that the older two names I tell them. I forgot them.
Rolf and Rig.
Yeah, that's the spy masters before the current one, and he doesn't want to know or be linked with the name Lysis, but he knows something. But he got very scared when I mentioned that name.
My phallus. Okay, interesting. What were the names? Rolf and
Rig.
Brick. So you actually found the spy master. So we don't have to go to the military part, to the Kirk Castle. I asked to.
No, he's just an informant.
Ah.
And yeah, Rolf and Rix maybe know something more.
Do you know where they are?
No, I didn't want to ask any more questions.
Oh, okay. It was a bit of a hard conversation, I guess.
As you guys are walking, where are you guys headed to now?
The Rolf and Riggs previous spy masters, are they old? I asked him. Probably. I mean, we might have to search somewhere where retired people would be.
I'm not sure. How long do a spy master serve? Is that common knowledge?
You worked in Kirsch in the less reputable part. Give me a history roll.
No, never mind.
Oh yeah, that's a really good roll.
Oh,
So the current spy master is a female human named Else, Else, or it's the only name that she's that you're familiar with her by. She's been spy master for about 5 years. Rolf was the spy master previous to that. He was spy master for probably about 8 years, and Rig was the previous to that spy master. He was only spy master for about a year, and it didn't work out very well.
So it's not that old that we're looking for.
Else is in her probably 40s, maybe 50. And I mean, you don't become spy master over maybe as old as 60. You don't become spy master overnight.
No, I know.
You don't think that any of the three of them are geriatric.
excuse me, what? Geriatric?
Old.
Old.
Oh, okay.
Like old people, old.
As in retirement.
Right. With a 23, you are fairly certain that the people who become spy masters rise up through the court, the king's court, usually, and so they're like usually like nobles or important public servants or so on, that sort of thing.
Should we go to the library to maybe research other stuff as well as all the names we
Yeah,
Could
sure.
I have everybody give me a perception check, please? That's not fair. All right.
I'm not even rolling.
Go ahead. Those of you getting more than 20. How do you have 0 in your perception bonus or gold? Anyway, those of you getting 20 or higher, you notice after a while that you're being trailed. But the person who's doing it is very good at their job, and you actually you're being trailed by a male human for like 5-10 minutes, and then you're being trailed by a female human like 10 minutes later, and like maybe you're being passed off as you're going around, but those are really good rolls.
I'm just looking at my map, trying to improve the map wherever we go, not paying attention to anything else.
Okay, fair enough. You can always choose to fail a roll. That's I'm okay with that. But yeah, no, Horgold and Grunthos, you've noticed that you've picked up a tail, and the person who's tailing you is possibly a group of people, but they are expert at either it's a group of people or it's somebody with like a hat of disguise. They're expert at their art. Like, you only notice because like Horgold, you're on high alert, and Grunthos, you're a hunter, sort of thing.
Gotta know when them predatory animals are out to get you.
Right?
Basically.
Like, but if you stop and look around, they're not, like, you have to catch them out of the corner of your eye. If you look at where they are, they're not there. Or they're like they're like blend into the, like you might catch a glimpse of them, but then they're in the crowd, and you've lost track of them again.
Oh, what a beautiful sign on the left here. Someone must run their own like woodworking shop from their house.
All right, where are you guys headed? What are you guys doing?
Well, I'm not sure where we're heading. That was the library, I think.
I think so.
That's what Gruntos suggested.
Yeah, if we turn a corner, I'll whisper to Gruntos, like, I think we're being trailed. Pretty sure.
I'm probably like in the
Um,
middle of you guys, and I'll just like say where the direction is for libraries and stuff.
Yeah, it's all.
I'm gonna do something that might be very stupid.
All right, so Striggs, you let them know that like the libraries are all near the college. There's several
Makes
public
sense, yeah.
libraries there. Okay, Grunthos, what's the stupid thing you're gonna do?
I'm gonna try and cast Hunter's Mark on the person that's following us at this moment.
Usually that doesn't take a roll, right?
It's a bonus action and a spell slot.
Needs to be a line of sight, I think.
I think I want you to make a perception or investigate, whichever is higher. Basically to have sight of the person for long enough to mark them. A 9. You like start casting the spell. You notice where they're at. You finish casting the spell and you feel it fizzle as you lose sight of them before you're able to finish. Like, a bonus action. It's like a half a second to go from casting to having cast, and in that amount of time, you think they've noticed you and that they've disappeared. They're like gone, and you spend the next several minutes like looking out for them because you're on high alert. Once you saw them the first time, you're like able to kind of track them and say, oh yeah, it's that person there that's watching us, and they're just, you can't perceive them anymore. They're either no longer following you or you're not sure.
Change
Hunter's Mark
tactics.
only works on attack rolls, so it doesn't give you benefits on tracking or anything.
Yeah, I know what he was trying to do. I got it mechanically, yes, but I get what he was trying to do. But yeah, he did not track the person for long enough. They've either, yeah, like you said, changed tactics or something.
Where does it say that?
I will set my owl up as well and let it track a little bit behind us
All right.
and let me notice if we getting followed. Checking if he's a little bit intelligent.
You also like no longer, like this person is no longer perceptible. Like you guys at this point, with the exception of probably Striggs, are all pretty much on high alert, and nobody spots anybody following you again. Like, this just the normal crowds. It's not too very long. It's probably before noon still. You guys arrive at the main public library outside of the university. You can head in. They have librarians there to help, like, mostly to help people, like, hey, how do you look up where to find this book or that book or this, thing or that thing. They have, like, a giant Codex of books that are here, all that sort of fun library things.
I go up to a librarian and ask, is there any record of Lifalis?
Can I split off and do something else then after he's
Lyphalis? That's not a name familiar to me. Who was Lyphalis?
Someone I need to find.
That's
It's been a previous spy master here. I've
might be-
described that.
I mean, usually spy masters don't like histories written of them. Check the history section would be my best guess. If there's anything written about them, it would be there. Sorry I can't be more help, but that's not. I think it's the first time I've heard that name.
Are there like ledgers where people can search for references to which section of the library?
So think card catalog, just
Yeah,
drawers of cards.
Start looking for Ook or what is it again? The name of the lich. What's the name?
Abu al-Fahad.
There you
Yes.
go. There are absolutely histories of both in this library.
I'll go start researching them.
All right. I'll have you. I tell you what. I'm gonna do a thing. Oh, go ahead.
When he's leaving, I'm gonna go the way they pointed me and start looking at books.
All right.
Blindly trying to find something that may help me.
All right. Striggs, what I'll have you do is I'll have you roll kind of like you do for your other things. I'll have you roll 2d20 for your research, and then you can save those on your character sheet, and you could use those instead of, like, if I ask for a history roll later about Ook or Abu al-Fahad, then you can use that roll instead. But other than that, I think I've given you, like, verbally a pretty complete history of what he was and who he was.
Yeah, things like maps to compare my maps to and improve them on, things like that for the city and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. You get there are, you find a very old history of Ook from before he rose, and that would, like, have a map of it, kind of a stylized, think illuminated script type map.
Got it.
So
Do I roll these with a bonus or just flat d20s?
roll them with a flat d20, and then you can use them with your bonus later if you have a bonus.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I hope you won't need those for anything important.
Same.
All right. Grunthos, give me a luck roll. I want you to luck into something. So just straight d20. So you find a history of Kartuk, and it is from the 200 and something years ago. You start reading through it, and you can find mentions to Shadow, the general, and, like, directing armies. There was a push from Kartuk into Feilun about this time, and talking about his military conquests. And it's one of those things where the author of this book was very impressed by his military conquest that took the other side of a river, and then 5 years later that river, like, the other, or not even 5 years, like later on that same year probably, like the Feilun army took the river, took the stuff back. But that's the longest that an army has held this one point in, like you spend maybe an hour reading through this book and realize that it's the right era, but it has no mention of said spymaster. While Striggs and Grunthos are reading their books, Horgold and Hollick, what are you guys up to?
I'm sticking with
Um,
Gruntos.
I try to find some books about time manipulation or something like that. Or if history of missing days or anything related to missing days.
Give me a insight.
Can I roll for you?
Is that how
Would
that
you allow
power
that, Noah?
works?
Usually it's before any roll. Oh no, never mind. I can see him because I'm busy with my own things. Never mind.
Yep. Give me an insight or investigation or similar roll, Hollick. You dig around for a bit, looking for like missing days or things like that. The best information you're able to come up with is, histories a little or books a little further back, talking about, like some wizard was researching why the month of Jet is sometimes longer and sometimes shorter, talking about how it had been stable for centuries at 28 days, just like the rest of the months. And this was thought that this was the like the way the world work is there's just 28 days between the last day of winter and the first day of spring. And then suddenly there were great happenings going on in Kartuk and Orkland, great magical explosions and clerics, just talking about how clerics from before this time they didn't have a name for their beliefs. They just believed in certain things and acted in certain ways. Started gaining names for their beliefs, like the started calling themselves the priest or priestess of Enon or what have you. And about this time, the first year of Jet being less than 28 days was like, people were like, oh, there's 3 days left in Jet, and oh, it's the first day of spring sort of reaction. And kind of this wizard is like speculating that there's some like great magical like deific force beyond the ken of most people, like the balance of back and forth. And as these like I want to say gods apparated, but it's not exactly the right, they didn't appear, but as the belief structures kind of congealed around these deific figures, they kind of gained strength. And as these good people worshipped gods that they declared good became stronger and stronger, Jet kind of became shorter and shorter until it's like talking about how Jet's, as little, and this was written a while ago, like as little as 3 weeks long it has been recorded at. And modern times, Jet's been in the 2-ish weeks range.
Are there any records of growing evil cults or something like that in recent times?
There, the most you find about growing evil cults is occasionally there will be, like in a major population area, there will be like something where there are a bunch of people who like are exposed as doing nasty other like cultish things, and authorities round up like 20 or 30 people, and these people were doing like taking and pulling peasants out of their job, and so people were disappearing, and then you'd find them chopped up into bits spread all around town, and then after investigation and stuff, 10 or 15 people would be found, eventually get the story out of them. A lot of them would be executed, that sort of thing. From your time as a guard, you can vaguely remember somebody. You weren't working on the case, but there was somebody, like a serial killer, a single person who was working in Kirsch for a while, who would murder male half elves of like 18 to 20 years of age, like pull them off to the side and murder them. And there were rumors that this person was doing, like, they were making sacrifices to some specific thing in order to make it more powerful or something like that. This comes up from time to time. Thinking back, like, you remember that year that Jet was one of the, like, was an extra day or two more than it had been the previous year. So there's like no correlation causation sort of thing, but that year of, there was like 50 or 60 people killed before this guy was tracked down and eventually hung. And yeah, like I said, Jet was like two days longer that year than it had been the previous year.
Interesting.
Is he researching that longer than I do? Because otherwise I'll try and help him when I'm done.
I think it takes about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
All right. Horgold, as far as you can tell, Grunthos is not trying to burn anything down. Right. It's about probably 2:00 in the afternoon. Kevin is behaving. That's just gonna be a thing now. Like 2:00 in the afternoon, when you guys get done with what you were able to find.
I keep trying to mention around that right time, wrong person as I'm reading through the book. After I figure out it's the right era, not necessarily in the right person, I keep not this one. When I get to new person, not this.
Yeah, after a while, you do kind of remember that Shadow was reportedly her husband. So, right time, wrong person, but related.
Yeah. Found something on Shadow. Say loud enough that the three others can hear.
Do I know what Shadow is?
Yeah, he was mentioned as her husband who died of old age, and that's when she quit being Spy Master.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Is
Can I
there a
take a look over
volume 2?
Not that you found.
I'll head over to the ledgers and try and find anything related to Shadow on the ledgers. Or the spy, or what is it? The husband of Spy Master, or what he was good. Oh no, there was a commander, right?
Yeah, he was the commander of the armies. So you look through them, and then you look on the shelves, and you realize that Grunthos has managed to like find like 6 or 8, like basically every volume, like by pure happenstance, or like he has the entire pile next to him.
Yep, you got it. That's all of it.
Boss it. She's not in the book.
Striggs, you look through them. Could I have you make a quick intelligence roll?
Can it be a 20 plus 4 of intelligence, so 24?
Yeah. Is insight intelligence?
No, that's wisdom.
Okay, what's
Investigation.
There you go, investigation.
History. So that's 27 as
So
a crit.
on 27, you start like reading through these books, and there is a story being told in the gaps in information.
Oh, there seems to be something hidden in here.
So
Time to decipher.
So you work for a little bit, and you start pulling everybody else in. So Grunthos, you've already read, you like collected all these books. Hollock and and Horgold. I'll have you add your either insight, perception, insight, or investigation, whichever one is best. Go ahead and roll that for me. 18. Oh, wow. All right, so we got 27 and two 18s. So Hollock, the story you get from these like reading through these books is a time of like like you see Shadow going off onto war, and attacking a village that's rebelling, or attacking Feilun or Gosan. There's even one story of him going all the way down the Lakshank Forest. You see a person who is being directed to like stabilize, like an attack on Feilun isn't an attack to like take land from Feilun. The attack on Feilun like destabilizes a industry in a village or in an area, that then as the army comes back up, you see like stability in the Kartuk side. Like there's increased stuff going on in the that industry in some other village. You see like the people who went out to war spend some time in a certain area, and like basically you see a stabilizing force. Like these attacks aren't random, and even though that they're not like they're not conquering land, they still like increase the stability of the kingdom. Horgold, you see the same sort of thing, but kind of the mirror side. So you see an attack on a city, and from what you see in the histories, you're like seeing like a corrupt official, like who was stealing from the local populace is no longer in charge. But there's no explanation of him being ousted because he was a corrupt official, but you kind of like pull those threads together that, you know, like this corrupt official is no longer in charge and is replaced by the military leader for this area for a couple years, and then it goes back to being a mayor elected by the city. But like you see the general like reduction in corruption and that sort of thing going on in these attacks. Like the attack on the Lakshank Forest, in specific, held a city for like 6 months, and when the army finally basically withdrew, the people who were there were much more open to trade, much more willing to trade away wood, like rare woods and stuff, but also much more like the possibly even not even more open to opening it, but not doing it under the table. So it's more open trade happening above the board rather than all of the trade that had been happening before, but it's all, you got to pay 50 brass to get in contact with this guy who then, he doesn't have a shipment of wood, but this guy over here has a shipment of wood. And so you have to, the 18 steps of greased palms before you get the wood that you want. And you pay less than you, once it goes above board, you might have paid then, but you all goes to these petty little people who are murdering each other in the street sort of thing. Strigs, you kind of get all of this information as well. But you also get so the College of Kartuk, there's a wizard college, a administrator's college, and a I guess mechanism or physical arts college, like blacksmithing, so on and so forth. Had a very they chose, up until this point, they chose the king of Kartuk. And the process of them choosing the king of Kartuk, you're getting this out of these books, them choosing the king of Kartuk was supposed to be the person who's in charge is the person who's best for it, sort of a decision. The king wasn't passed down from father to son. And the king at the time was seen as relatively incompetent, even though he's supposed to be the most intelligent, best king. You see a erosion of their the college's influence over the administration of the kingdom, and over the course of 30 or 40 years, Shadow was the general for 30 years. So over the course of 30 to 40 years, you see this taper down of influence of the college, and a more the king is now a hereditary role, but they're also in a sense less powerful, because the not that they're a figurehead, they have a court, but the court is more built up of people who are competent, and the college no longer is as heavy an influence on who's in the court. The people of the court kind of worked their way up through business dealings or what have you, but the king themselves still makes decisions and still does things, but they don't have as much direct power as they had. And you kind of see this picture in your mind of this working the influence of the university down, working the influence of the king down a little bit, and letting good bureaucrats and administrators kind of run the kingdom in a more competent way than had been done before. And like I said, from what Horgold saw, he saw, reduction in corruption, not only in Kartuk itself, but in the surrounding kingdoms. And then Hollock, you definitely see an increase of stability, more likely to get enough food every year, and people produce things that other people need, that sort of thing. And Grunthos, you saw a military history of a military man who's not very good at conquering things.
Yep.
So this influence that's being watered down, it didn't seem like it was the cause of the army or someone behind the scenes.
This
A bit too much.
This is very much you're reading the histories of a military general, but there's in the gaps of what you're in the gaps of information and what's not being said and what is being said but being said in a weird way. There's definitely some influence, not not Shadow's direct influence, other than when he goes out and army kills somebody, but in something behind the scenes, like massaging, if not history, at least actions to kind of get this outcome. And well, I mean, Hollock knows the history the best. The ultimate result of this was about 10 or 15 years ago. Kartuk finished conquering the entire Burgundy coast with the exception of the Lakshank forest.
Okay.
And rumors be that the Lakshank forest isn't as able to defend themselves from the newly unified Burgundy coast as they had been in the past.
Okay. Well, very interesting. What are we doing next?
See if we can find the guys that followed us.
That's a possibility. Do you have any like identifying information, their looks, or?
Nope. Basically, just my idea is basically just walking around and seeing if we can catch them out the corner of our eyes again, or maybe trying to get them in an ambush somehow.
Or that they would ambush us. That's already right. To get into like an alley where it's not busy while they're following us.
Maybe.
Well, we know where they started to following us, or we think we know.
I don't know where.
From the shady pub with the
Where you
roulette
came
in the
out of.
back. Yeah.
Ah. Did you actually tell who you met there? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can definitely try that.
All right. I would like everybody to give me a perception check then, please, as you guys implement your plan of walking around town looking for people following you.
Especially around that area, right? Where they started following us.
It's a solid nope for Horgold.
Got my
24.
owl up.
You do have your owl up. Grunthos had 24. What you Hollock had an 18.
4.
Oh no, 12, right. 24.
17 for starters.
That doesn't do much.
Your owl is about the same as you. So by the time you guys are getting tired of walking around town, it's like 5 p.m. Grunthos, you think you've seen somebody out of the corner of your eye, but if they're the same person, they're even more skilled than they were the last time. Like you never catch perception of somebody for more than maybe a half a second, and by the time you guys are done walking around, GM's gonna make an assumption. You head back to Takuiden. You
I guess we're
have
traveling
convinced.
between some back alleys, right?
Yeah. You have convinced yourself that you aren't being followed. Like, you are certain that you are not being followed, or you're not certain you're not being followed, but you're not certain in the way that you're not being followed that you don't.
We don't have proof that we are followed.
Right. Either they are the
Feels
best person following you that exists, or you're not being followed.
Well then.
I was about to say, one of us whisper and say, should we stop and just say loudly we know you're following us.
You could definitely try that.
I will distance me from you then if you're gonna do that.
In the middle of streets.
Yeah, I don't want to be associated with somebody who yells that in the middle of street.
It does seem a bit paranoid.
I got the reputation to hold up.
I want to, if possible, time it to when I catch one of the half-second flickers of someone that looks like they're following me. Just stop and say, "Show yourself."
When I hear this, can I just sneakily try and hide in the crowd?
Give me a stealth roll, those of you who are trying to hide. That's pretty good. That's really good, Horgold. So Striggs and Horgold. Give me a persuasion check, Grunthos. So you get a lot of people like looking at you, like questioning, like not sure what's going on, why this small kobold suddenly suddenly yelled that out in the street. Hollock, you have somebody what was fighters out there here? Yeah. You have somebody chuckle in you, like a female voice chuckle in your ear, and you look around and you are in an empty, like there's nobody near enough by you to have, like, you know how you can tell if somebody is speaking close to you quietly or louder further away. This was like close to you very quietly, but there's nobody close enough to have made that noise. Grunthos, other than people looking at you questioningly, you don't, like, there's no response, and people like within a minute move on. And I am looking up something for Hollock. All right. So yeah, but it's, quiet streets. The evening is progressing. Nothing else. Nothing else apparent.
Yeah, I'll try to go a bit more sneakily to the Taki.
All right. Sure. You sneak your way back to Takuiden. You still don't catch track of anything or anybody following after that. Tonight they have turkey, they have goat, and they have beef as their skewers. It's like the like turkey is like dark meat turkey, like really turkey.
Gruntos is going to have a turkey thing. Turkey kebab.
All right, same prices as last night. Five gets you, or five bronze gets you a kebab and a beer, and I don't remember what I said. Or 5 copper gets you a kebab and a beer, and I think it was a bronze for a bed.
I'll drop 2 brass, keep the food and drinks coming, and rooms.
All right. And the evening passes. You guys.
All right, we can use that.
Oh,
Didn't
that's
we always, Horgold?
that is awesome. All right. The evening passes. You guys head to your rooms. Where do you put your alarms? Those of you putting down alarms.
Does it have a window? room?
The room has the rooms all have windows and doors, but like the door opens up, and the bed is like the length of the room, and each of these rooms is just a little bit wider than the bed, and then at the head of the bed is the actual window.
Window.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. Now I'm doing my alarm at the window.
Oh, you can cover choose a door, a window, or an area within the range. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you have alarmed your
Alarm
window.
the room.
You
Alarm
have
everything.
well, you can alarm the like the inside of the room. You can alarm the door to the room, the window to the room, or like the hallway outside the room.
No, then I choose the room.
Okay. Who all has an alarm?
Me.
And Horgold and Grunthos, do you have that as one of your spells or not?
Nope, but
Okay.
I'm
Technically, I can cast it for a lot of times.
It's up to you.
2, 5, that's 8, that's 12 times I can cast. I have not used any spell slots, so.
Which way does the door open? Outwards or inwards?
Opens into the room because the hallway is too narrow to have a door opening into it.
I shall cast an alarm on each of our doors. Let me just say it like that.
Okay.
I'm gonna stack up a bunch of javelins at the door so that if anyone tries to push it open, they'll follow.
And the bell will be ringing.
So this goes on. You guys, I'm gonna take control for a little bit. You guys continue to do this process for a couple 3 days, where Horgold like leads you to some back alley inn or pub. Ask a couple questions. Ask a lot more carefully about Lithalis. Doesn't get really anywhere at all. You guys walk around town. About half of the days you pick up a tale, but you're not like, it's like you can just barely keep track of it. Like you're getting better at spotting the tail, but the tail is like learning how you guys spot it. So one day you're able to like watch out of the corner of your eye and see a person following you, and the next day doing it, you do the same method and you're not able to spot anybody, but you hear something that tells you that they're following you, or that, so on and so forth. I'll
be trying to cast Hunter's Mark on them every chance I get.
And you never quite make it stick, Grunthos. It just doesn't quite stick. And Horgold, you're building up this impression in your mind, that like Lithalis is not somebody you go and find, and it's not somebody you can ask somebody else to find for you. If she exists, she's kind of one of those people who some of the people you're like, no, she's a ghost, she's been dead, don't ask about her. People who ask the wrong questions get dead, and so you're like, you're not 100% sure that she exists or like as a real person, or if this is like a group of people, or what's going on. But after we'll say 5 days of this, so it's going to be the 18th of Ruby or 17th of Ruby. We'll call it the 18th of Ruby. You guys, Striggs, you have set your alarms on everybody's door like you have been doing.
Yep.
Horgold, you set your own alarm. And Hollock, you are getting ready for the night. You know, doing your preparations, you know, washing your armor or your face or whatever your character does for the evening. And you hear the bed springs shift on your bed in a way that, like, it could just be the bed moving a little bit because the building, because you kind of heard the building move a little bit. Maybe, you know, you have this thought in your mind, like, I think I just heard the bed move, but you're like, or maybe that was the like that kind of seriality where you've heard a sound but you can't quite place the sound, and your brain is like, oh, that sound is this, but then your brain is like, no, it doesn't quite sound right for that. And you turn around and look at your bed and you see a relatively slight half elf sitting on your bed. She has she looks maybe 25, maybe 30 at the outside, but she has very, like, her ears are very pronounced. She's like, the elf blood was strong within her. Bright glowing but tired eyes, dark hair, and she's just kind of appraising you. At the same moment that Striggs and Hollock, you guys hear your alarm, like your alarm has gone off and you're like reacting to it, and we'll go ahead and end there for the night. So great having you here, everybody. Thank you for being here. I will see you again next week. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.